I say this all the time. Sometimes I just don't know what to talk about because I don't want to be self-centered. I mean, it is my podcast, but I do this more so for the listeners to participate, to send their suggestions, requests, and questions. Now, again, I'm not a celebrity or anything of that sort. So my relevancy in the social media realm could be slim to none. However, at the same time, I am a person, a human being that speaks for those who aren't speaking. And one thing that I take pride in is giving, loving yourself, accepting yourself for who you are while still trying to better yourself. Shout out to Black China. I see the change that she's making. She is, like I said, she is a brand. However, at the same time, she has been doing her Instagram lives and videos as far as removing all the silicones and fillers in her face and her body. And she talked about it on the Tamron show, which I thought was great. So that's just a good example of someone who is righting their wrongs, maybe correcting themselves, maybe seeing the error ways of someone that was young and impressionable, who is now grown and mature and accepting herself, accepting and loving themselves for who they are. But that's all I wanted to talk about as far as that. Because I see we all have opinions. Opinions are like assholes. We all have one. That's the thing. And I'm not here to knock anyone, to shame anyone, or disrespect or offend anyone. But I do want to say this. Some opinions that people have maybe more opinions that people have is just the way of the world. And even with that, it's also the way of God. Because, see, here's the thing. I don't know what my listeners' background is, religion is, faith is. But, again, going back into giving, loving, I love people, I give, and I want to just share this thought. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, this is the podcast where you can participate. I do look at my emails. The email is 0, but as far as in regards to podcast, but I do want to put this out there. Blair King the Care Bear. That is who I am. So everything matters. Everything's a factor. I want to be clear that it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to not be okay sometimes. Just don't let it consume you. We are all beautiful in our own right. We are all a blessing to somebody. But I am not naive in saying that everybody has your best interest at heart. You have to sometimes guard yourself and protect yourself. You have to live for the people that cares and loves you and still do for you. And the thing that matters most isn't happiness, but the peace and your contentment. Because if we live our lives based on other people's opinion, again, we all have opinions. But the thing about opinions, besides everyone having one, I'll say that again, is that that's not even no knowledge. Like, we all have our experience. We all judge as we should judge. We have to make good judgments, not poor judgments. But the thing about it is, say you work with somebody and you might have your opinion on them based on what you see and pick up on working with them. But you don't necessarily truly know this person outside of work. So a lot of times, and this happens to me, I done it, unfortunately, again, like, we project our views and our morals on people that we work with, and I don't think we should do that. We all have a goal when we're at our jobs to do the job that matter at hand. So I'm not saying you have to sit here and be friends with people and communicate with people at the workplace, but you do have so in a sense you do have to communicate. You do have to communicate with people that you work with, but you don't have to have anything outside of that. Now, there can be times where things might trickle over in personal because, again, when you are an individual and you're bringing your personality to that job, you will build bonds with people that you work with, build relationships, have conversations. And that's the thing where we also have to be careful, because we also have to remember y'all are not friends, y'all are co-workers. Now, I have built some relationships, personal relationships and friendships with people that I've been in business with and work with. It's like anything else, like somebody who's a mutual friend, same thing, but it's different. So my whole point of it is this, and I say this a lot of times on the show, but maybe that's just because it's just very critical and significant, is that we cannot project what we stand for on anyone else. It happens maybe unintentionally, maybe subconsciously, but that's where we have to be able to monitor and, manage our emotions and understand. I'm a very outspoken person. Like I mentioned, I've recently was going through a depression state. And like I said, I have my midlife crisis. Sometimes it's like I stress when things aren't going the way way that I want them to. Not necessarily going my way, because I do feel like I try to stay in God's light and God's guidance and try to be the best version of myself as I can, because God is my guide. He is my guiding light. But it's like, going back again, self-worth, self-awareness, self-love, self-care. Like, what can I do to better my situation? I don't know if it was dealing. I don't know if it was dealing with financial. I don't know if it was dealing with parental. I just don't know if the devil was just playing with my emotions, because I'm around and I'm doing things and I'm moving at a pace that isn't really ideal for me. But going back again, how you feel about yourself is also an important thing. I always want to encourage taking time to yourself, doing something that you enjoy doing, and like me, I like to write, I like to record, I like to sing, I like to do these things. These are my happy places. So I try to take certain time to, do that in order to stay sane. Because working a 9 to 5, sometimes you might be working on your birthday. Sometimes you might be working on days where one of your friends is getting married or a funeral or something, where then you have to adjust. Because at the same time, like I mentioned, everything doesn't revolve around you, doesn't revolve around your schedule. So it's like, if you have to pick and choose when you want to, take a break from work, take a break from people, you have to use that discretion. Because here's the thing, say if you're working a normal average job, you get a certain amount of sick days, you get a certain amount of vacation days. Now you then have to make a decision, okay, because again, deaths are unexpected. Those can happen, and then the following week it can be the funeral. So those things are kind of like, oh, I didn't already then had made plans for this day, and then you got to readjust. Because to me, like I said, I don't think we have to go to funerals. I don't necessarily think you have to go to weddings. Sometimes, we go to funerals to pay your respects and condolences to those that you lost and to the families. But for the person who would pass, they're gone. They don't know. They're not going to be able to do anything or say thank you or come like you just pay your condolences. And same thing with weddings. Is like weddings. Like, I'll make it to weddings if it's somebody who is important to me. Like, I went, like, the last wedding I attended, it was my brother. I always call him my last name's twin. Focus. He was on the show. I went to his wedding, made it to his wedding. I didn't have a car. Made it to his wedding because I wanted to show my support and care. Because there's different ways people show up for you. Because again, these are life-changing occurrences that happen. So we have to make judgment decisions when it comes to attending and going to different things. Like, you might have birthday parties, like I said, weddings, funerals, might have particular dinners. But all these things, there's other ways to show people that you care about, that you care. Because again, we all have schedules. We all have to manage our own adjustment. So again, going back to the opinion, in my opinion, again, to me, my standard, I showed up for people I care about in different ways. Now, again, been to weddings. I don't really like going to funerals. I'm trying to think of the last funeral I've been to. It might have been my father-in-law's, but it's just certain things because I'm not one of them people that do the fake love, right? I'm not sure if people go to funerals because it's like they knew the deceased and they wanted to pay their condolences to the family, but that's why I will go. Like if I didn't really have like a relationship with you, I don't really feel like I'm necessarily have to go. Like I didn't been to funerals of relatives I wasn't that close to, but I was there because I was being supportive to my other family members who I was close to, trying to be a support system for them. Moving on. This isn't going to be all over the place. Moving forward. Back to opinions. I lost my train of thought. Sometimes I can just go on a tangent, go on a rant. But this is what I do. I like to be transparent. I like to be live and in your face. So sometimes when I stumble across a brain fart, you're going to experience that. And it's just me just expressing again. Because there's certain things that I can discuss. There's certain things that I would like to discuss. But because I have this platform, I want to do better as far as what I record and share. Because at the same time, we can't always speak our minds as adults. We have to, again, being an adult is being a boss. You got to make up, like, if you are a boss, that doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, you are like you own a business and you own this business. Like being an adult, that's also being like a boss. Like you gotta be able to manage your emotions, manage your feelings, manage your life in a way where it's not really going to be detrimental to yourself, your your system, your family, all that. So when I say I can still discuss certain topics, but particularly for this particular episode, I just want to put it out there and say that when you put things out, especially podcasting and tweets and pictures, you are now open to the public. So we have to be mindful of what we say, because I can even say, like, when I was looking at there's certain episodes, certain podcasts I listen to. There's certain forms of entertainment that I watch, and then I look at these different conversations that I see on the internet, and I be saying, like, when people be talking and expressing, like, they just going to get the same thing with podcasts. Like, there's certain things I think that it's okay to be vulnerable and to speak how you feel. Again, this is a world of likability. Everybody want to be liked. Everybody want to be loved. Everybody wants to get that bad. But here's the thing. There's certain things that I do believe personally that might need to stay to yourself, or at least be to a point where if you're ignorant in it, you really shouldn't speak on. Like, there's certain things as a man that I'm not going to speak on about women because I'm not a woman. I have a mom, I have a sister, I have daughters, I have cousins, I have grandparents, I have ex-wife, I have a lot of women in my life, and no matter how much and how close my relationship is with them, or how much we communicate, there are certain things that I just won't really address publicly, or even probably because it's like I'm very expressive. I speak my views and morals and stuff all the time on the show. It's been a while since I had a guest, but it's like I speak these mild vows on the show because I think it might be helpful. So me being helpful right now, and it's like men who have this critical view on women, not saying that it's not valid or justified, but I think sometimes it's important that unless it's asked for you, some things you just might need to keep quiet. Same thing with women. I'm not one of them guys that can tell a woman how to be a woman. So I don't want a woman to tell men how to be men. But I do know there's a commonality as men and women that we have to be unified in a sense. And there has to be a respect level there. But that's pretty much what like I said, these things it's been like I'm in a transition because it's like a lot of my recent episodes, again, they was just on the fly, they was random. There's always, it's like church, right? You go to church, you have plans to preach or hear a word, and then it might shift. That's kind of what my podcast be. Because I know some churches who allow people to partake in the service, but then those who don't. Traditionally, there's not a lot that do. But I've been to a couple churches, or a church where the ministering was, talking to the congregation, and he was asking them questions like, yeah, you know what this is, and they was having conversations. It was kind of almost like Bible study, but it was during service, because you have the Bible study usually, or Sunday school before service, and then you have service. So it's almost like sometimes Bible study is happening in the regular Sunday service. I've been to churches like that. But traditionally, there are certain churches that, you just allow the minister to talk. And even though I'm not heavy in the churches I used to be, I do go. I do attend. I do enjoy it. And as always, I always appreciate going. But, man, I'm tired. But, again, I don't want to take up too much of y'all time on this nice Friday. It was just something that I wanted to express and get off. And like, again, this is almost kind of, my pod is really has become a public forum for things for me to say and to give to the audience and listeners some different insights and perspective, which has always been. But it's almost like now the goal is just to reach and talk to as many people as I can. And I still accept questions, suggestions, and requests. Everything's provided in the description. So if you've been listening, thank you, as always. There's not a time that is not appreciative. Because it's sometimes you might look and be like, what is he talking about? He doesn't have nothing going. It's nothing in particular. Because again, I can recognize what it is. I recognize what it is. I know what boredom looks like. I know what random thought, insightful looks like. So like I said, there's no goal, or at least there wasn't no set topic that I wanted to say. I really just wanted to just double down on what I stand for. Is everybody's opinion is their fact, but at the same time, do not project your opinion, if you can help it, on anyone. Because when I share my opinion and perspective and morals and views, I'm not sitting here telling someone they should do that. I'm just giving insight. Like, again, I'm making suggestions, requests, but I'm not sitting here telling you or telling somebody that they are wrong if they don't pick up any of my habits or any of my life morals or anything. I do give different perspective or different to take under consideration, but we all know that there are those who, and we know some people like that there are people who will sit here and deem you the devil, deem you the enemy if you do not do this. I advise and encourage God. I advise and encourage good faith, good judgment. Do what you do. Do it well. Be mindful. I encourage that. But I don't condemn those who don't. I will correct. I will redirect. But I will not condemn those who don't. It's out here. I had episodes where I was deep diving. I was going in. I could have been judgmental, could have been gossiping, could have been doing, like, again, I'm not sitting here saying that I am perfect. I share my insight. I give my perspective on things. But I never want anybody to get it twisted that I am condemning or deeming someone to be malicious or anything. Even recognizing that. It can be a contradiction. I know that. But, as always, I just want y'all to be safe, stay positive, productive, and prosperous. Because Blair will. It's been hard out here, but I'm getting back to me. I'm out.